Hey guys, how's it going? Just we'll get this show on the road. That's good. That's good. All right. So, today we have a couple PVTs, couple TVTs. So what that means is that for about 15 minutes, I'm going to actually have a small clue what I'm talking about. And then for the other hour, 30 minutes of TVTs, I'm going to be grasping at straws and everybody can laugh at me. Love Snow doesn't care about our low elo legends, but I do. Damn, yo. Anyway, I don't have anybody with me today, so we'll just get into it after I... So also, by the way, this has, this screen here has no connection with, the order of the matches, because I kind of did this kind of hastily, so either way, these are the matches that are going to happen, just not in this order. Anyway, we'll get into it. Yeah. So, first match here, we have DJKNITEX and Stifle on Neo Dark Origin. Obviously, two-player map can be kind of frustrating for Terran. And that's about all I'm going to have to say for the next 3 PvPs. Turn on the music. Alright, just because you asked so nicely. I do agree, it's kind of weird casting. How's this for sound? Alright, cool. So, our Terran player coming out here, building the supply depot, pylons, nothing too exciting going on. We don't see a probe going across the map for a... Yeah, CPL season. So we don't see a probe going out for a gas steal or a proxy or anything like that. So, honestly, it's a mistake. I don't do it, but gas steal is just kind of so strong on a two-player map that it's one of those things that you kind of have to do if you want to level up your play. I don't, like I said, I don't personally do it just because it messes with my game plan. Yeah, man, Group 3, 500 APM, 300 APM. Kind of nuts. Anyway, both our players are going to kind of come in at the same time, scout each other out. That's, yeah, I was going to say, that doesn't look like a probe tight wall there. Stifle's going to come in here, see the gas being taken, see a gateway. Nothing really crazy. It might stick around to see if a zealot comes out or not. On the other side, we have our probe just kind of looking around again, looking for maybe an early expansion, timing of the second depot. But no, all they're going to see is no gas, which is actually taken not yet at all. I thought he might take it shortly after, but yeah. Kind of interesting, the zealot coming out now. It's a little late. I guess it doesn't really matter. It doesn't delay his goon at all, but we'll see what the zealot does. He's gonna walk around, probably just chase this SCV around or not. He sees it, right? Yeah. There we go. Yeah, okay. Actually, let me see if I can get... Okay, they did play top versus bottom. Alright. We have our command center coming up here. Looks like NITEX is looking at taking a Nexus. No goon range on the way, which is kind of odd. He's banging up a lot of gas, so I'm not sure what the idea is here. Goon range just starts. And he also made a Zel, which is weird with the amount of gas he has. I don't know. Missing a couple probes here as well. So, we'll see what's going on with that. Anyway. Looking up here, we do see the factory starting. And we have not a whole lot of gas banked up yet. So, if I had to guess, hopefully he's going to build a couple vultures here and try to get out on the map, take map control. I mean, if you... Obviously, I don't think he scouted NITEX in a while. Stifle hasn't scouted NITEX in a while, but... if he had, he would kind of know that it's not too much to worry about. You got four Marines in the bunker. Although it is kind of awkward being in front of the barracks for repairs, but... we can see. The army turns around to chase this SCV. I don't know if that's all too important at this point. Just gonna come across here and I guess see that there's no third. I don't think you'd be expecting a third at this point anyway. Nexus finally goes down, which is nice to see. We don't have any further tech up here in NITEX's base. And yeah, the repair's just not going to get there. And there wouldn't have even been enough surface area if he did. Zel coming in here. Trying to get this last Marine down. Trying to dance the goons in here through this gap as well. Kind of funny to watch. Zel finally does get that Marine, and there's just kind of a massacre of SCVs here. I don't think... does have a tank coming out, and Siege is almost done, but he's losing just so many SCVs. I don't know... I mean, then again, NITEX kind of did bank a lot on this working out, so he's only at 19 probes himself. If you could get the command center, this is definitely has worked out somewhat. But yeah, siege mode being done, unless you run up that ramp right now. And with the second tank, I think this is kind of over. Good damage coming from NITEX, but I don't know that it did enough to make up for that kind of 10 probe deficit he has. Although we will see, anything can happen here. You definitely do get some space by doing this, I guess, if you wanted to take a third here. And a Stargate goes down, so... And a robotics facility, interesting. I mean, he definitely has the gas for it. And we also do have a forge here spinning up ground weapons 1. Yeah, I mean, I think that if you didn't... I think if you kind of commit to that move, you gotta kind of win the game there, especially in the position he was in with the, being late on his expansion and kind of committing so heavily to that. Stargate finishes. Are we going to see a fleet beacon come down? Is this for scouts? Is he going for style points? Kind of a open question at this point. and the Robo Bay facility. And observatory comes down. And yes, we do see the fleet beacon. So yeah, going into both observers and carriers at the same time. Probably not so great on 2 bases. And he hasn't even taken his second gas yet. On 2 bases, there's just not that much gas to go around. Yeah, well. But we'll see. I guess we'll see what comes of this. I think, you know, NITEX is definitely going to have to be passive for quite a while here. Can't really move out on the map, and then you got to wonder, when he does move out on the map, are there just going to be too many Widow Mines to really push through the map effectively and quickly? I mean, he's going to get pretty bogged down. He did sneak a probe out over here, and he didn't even... Unless it's just an observer glitch, I guess. Yeah, I don't think I would have seen him pull 8 probes to go get this. So, there's a probe over here in the bottom left. Could take a third there. I don't think it's really worth the trouble, and I think it's pretty easy to scout. But, well, he starts to pile on. So what do I know? Yeah, it's all about worker count until you get like 6 carriers, and then Terran doesn't really know what to do, especially if you catch him off guard. Yeah, I mean, the armory's just starting here, so could be kind of interesting. But yeah, I mean, 14 workers is a pretty big lead for Terran, and they're up a base, so just starting that nexus in the bottom left. And I'm assuming is going to get a couple cannons and whatnot up here. Do have 2 observers, 3 observers out on the map, and kind of a smattering of zealots and goons. On the other side, we have, I think, 6 tanks? I think that's it. 6 tanks, and then obviously a couple vultures running around here making life hell for the Protoss. So gonna have to see what that amounts to. I mean, you definitely can't attack into this as Protoss, and a push from Terran, even with this low tank count, kind of seeing what Protoss has, could be kind of scary. There's not even Zealot leg stun yet, I believe. So first carrier's done. We'll see what he does here. I mean, I feel like if you're going to commit to this off of 2 bases, you really got to get that second Stargate and just go balls to the wall, because he's not making any army anyway. Yeah, righteous macro game. You know, for Dark Origin, this is kind of a macro game, all things considered. You know, these 5th bases are kind of hell for everybody to take. You just get stormed and siege tank dropped relentlessly, I feel like, if you can't control the center. Anyways, we got up here, we got 3 cannons, well, a 3rd cannon coming up on the bottom left, which should be enough to keep the base alive from vultures, but obviously you're going to lose all your probes if even these 6 vultures run by. Down here, this is all mined up. I'm surprised to not see NITEX come out and clear this. If you're pretty confident that there's no tanks, then it's a little questionable why you wouldn't just walk out. I mean, obviously with that observer, you can go look around and make sure. Nonetheless, we have another gateway finishing. Our second carrier done. He's got to make more interceptors on this one. And it looks like 6 vultures ran in here. 1 survived to get behind the mineral line. And now he's on a mission to avenge his fallen brothers. Already 3 kills for 5, reducing that already pretty low probe count. And, oh, probe versus vulture, who wins? Obviously the probe, best unit in the game. Either way, 37 workers to 72 is a pretty big difference. Obviously on 3 bases versus 3 base, it's not that big, but you're also talking about PVT, so little rough. One interesting thing is though that the supplies are even, so KNITEX probably does have an army right now that could just kind of smash through Terran here. I haven't seen a whole lot of siege tanks been made. Well, now we're up to like 8, 9, 10, 11. And, you know, I guess there is that carrier in production. And he finally has fired these gateways back up, which is nice to see. Moves out, clears a couple mines. He's got to go and get these mines and be able to get across the bridges at least. Otherwise, it's just so easy for Terran to push across and just siege up here. And kind of keep you contained. We are going to see here in a second what this 4th carrier does. And a Arbiter Tribunal. So, yeah. We're playing Protoss Tech Bingo today. We'll see what happens with the Arbiter Tribunal. Sorry, that's so hard for me to say. Yeah, unemployment in the Dominion is at an all-time low right now. These SCVs are definitely working on some public works projects. You know, and apparently they have worked out a union deal so that they could have 72 for only 3 bases, so they don't actually need to work a full day. They can actually do a 4-hour workday and still get paid for 8 hours because there's so many of them. Yeah. 4th base coming up for Terran. I mean, even with this huge deficit of workers for KNITEX, I don't see how he's going to keep the space against carriers. But then again, we're starting to see that Goliath count go up. We are starting to see the siege tank count come to that scary amount where you're never really going to smash through it. Yeah. And if you're not going to smash through it, 3 bases is just not going to do it as Protoss. He's really going to have to get that 4th, 5th, and then actually probably contest this if he's ever going to win with his ground army. The only saving grace is those carriers, which... Where the hell did they go? Oh, he moved them up here. Yeah, the depot usage down here is pretty nice. It's so frustrating too as a Protoss player when your goons just start hitting depots while they get shelled to death by like 3 tanks. And you want to micro them, but a lot of times there's just better things to do, like with storming and you know, maybe microing shuttles and carriers and whatnot. Terran now decides it's time to move into the middle of the map. How many Goliaths we got here? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, on paper, 10 is definitely not enough to deal with 4 carriers. But that requires, like, pretty good micro on the Protoss player's part to be the case. So I wonder if in CPL 10 might be the magic number, and I think, you know, more are going to be streaming in as we go, so every time the ground army can even get, you know, 1 or 2 of these yeah, big engagement going in, trying to snipe down these siege tanks. A little bit of miss micro on these carriers, He finally gets the interceptors out, but he's not microing them super well. The ground army has just been obliterated by this absurd siege tank count. 2 High Templar coming in, they'll get instantly shelled. And it looks like Terran is just kind of smashed through this force. I mean, talk about a military-industrial complex. This is just a pretty overpowering army. Not even microing the carriers anymore. GG, well played. DJKNITEX goes down to Stifle. Alright. That was definitely a cool little game. We get to check both arbiters and carriers off our bingo cards today. We did not see a robotics bay though, so we'll look out for those in the next game. We're gonna go here. We're gonna have our next match is going to be another PVT. It's going to be Solaerran versus KNITEX again. Solaerran. I keep wanting to say Solaerran. Either way, going right into it. Again, in the bottom right, KNITEX, his probes just mine away on those minerals. Hopefully they're planning something devious for this game, because top left we have Solaerran, and I want to see that gas get stolen. I'm not gonna lie. As a Protoss player, I definitely feed on Terran tiers. Yeah. Definitely, I am an enemy of the Terran state. But, anyway, we see that 8 pylon. No probe sent out yet, so probably not going to get a gas stealer proxy this game either. Depot, not a whole lot going on. Decent spread on the probes though. That's kind of cool. They're all mining from their own patch. Probe goes out, makes the gateway. Does a little bit of sightseeing around the base before he finally makes his way to the ramp. And heads off on the treacherous journey of scouting the Terran base. You can make it. Over on Solaerran side, we see the barracks coming up. Standard. No gas taken. And an SCV coming down to do something. He's going over to the Protoss base now. Ooh, pardon me. Jesus Christ. So, we're going to see a little bit of harassment here coming in. Really just trying to annoy the Terran more than anything, although if you can get an SCV, that's always welcome in the early game. These two guys come down the ramp to block or make a supply depot, and I don't know. Anyway, Solaerran sends down an SCV. Looks like he's trying to get that command center up nice and early. Going to be a... Well, it's not gasless. Okay. Just going to be a good old barracks fast expand here. Once he drops that, we have our little Protoss probe over here hiding, and the Zealot blocking the ramp. Second gateway coming down, so Probably going to apply a little bit of pressure with goons. Just building up that gas bank here. So he could afford his first 2 goons and then hopefully get range. And then on the other side, we do see that CC starting. The bunker here is behind the depot, so not likely to be broken like we saw in last game. And the factory starting at a reasonable time. Both players are a little bit low on workers at the moment, but no big deal. They're at least even, so they're keeping up with each other. So it should be a good game on our hands. You know, we're not going to see anybody kind of get crazy ahead in this early game, it looks like. Although this Terran CC timing is really quick, so if you don't get a little bit of pressure on the other side of the map as Protoss here, you are pretty far behind. He is moving across here. It looks like he's got 2 Zealots, 2 Dragoons, with range on the way, about halfway done. And like I said, decent probe count. He's just got to think about dropping that Nexus pretty soon. He's going to be working up to about 400 minerals here. And there we go. So we're going to have 4 Dragoons, 2 Zealots move across the map momentarily, probably once his other Zealots run up with him. Start harassing that bunker. And just, you know, cause a minor headache that the Terran has to micromanage and deal with. Ideally, if you do this, you do force siege mode as the first upgrade out of the add-on. But we'll see if that's the case here. Technically, you don't really force it. Oh no, just come on. Oh, okay, well, breaks the bunker for a goon. Kills all these Marines, and no add-on, nothing being made by this factory. Alright, he starts 2 Vultures. Yeah, if he walks up this ramp here, Solaerran's kind of dead. A Vulture isn't going to do anything against this. A single Vulture, no. Yeah, no. And he's already gunning down the other factory. Yeah, I think this is going to be one of our sub 10-minute PVTs here. KNITEX just kind of runs up and, you know, I think that maybe you don't expect that most of the time. The Protoss player to just run up and start, yeah, SCV pull, but I don't think this is going to really do anything too impactful here. And as he takes down this last factory, I mean, you can't defend this with Marines alone, so I think that's kind of it. I guess I don't know that that was a good move to just run up like that, but I think that maybe there's something to be said for just going all in like that, going kind of ham, and just running up on the bunker and start shooting it. Anyway, Solaerran calls GG, and that is where we will leave that one. I mean, I don't think it was like a bad move to try it, but your Dragoons take a lot of damage to do that, so it's a little sketchy at best. Anyway, next game we have a TVT. We have Solaerran versus Stifle on a 2-player map, so you know what that means, because I don't. Anyway, go right into it. At the top of Neo Dark Origin, Solaerran. At the bottom, we have Stifle. And yeah, I'm gonna stumble through this game and the next 2 TVTs we have because I know nothing about the matchup. Not even gonna lie. I know that they build tanks and vultures, so that's pretty cool. And there's probably a reduced expansion tempo, as with most mirrors. But aside from that, I don't know really what's available to these 2 guys. And so I guess we'll just let it develop. I don't know if it's just me or if the music's really loud. But yeah, if it's just me, then that's fair. We have the first depots coming down. It looks like, just comparing the 2 timing, it looks like Solaerran's was a little late, or Stifle's was early, but I guess they're both going to mostly avoid a supply block. And we have Stifle coming down here with 1 SCV, making his barracks coming across the map with the other to go ahead and scout. Similarly, on the other side of the map, we have a barracks. Not too much to say at this point. I think that for a 2-player map, Terran TVTs can run really long just because of the bridges, and also the map isn't that wide. You do have those like kind of 2 fists flanking the map, kind of creating a somewhat narrow middle of the map here. Even though it's mostly open, it's still pretty easy to get a siege line that kind of covers the whole thing, and then you're dealing with vulture run-bys on the sides, but as long as you're wary of those are probably easily dealt with as well. It'll be interesting to see when they mine out the back minerals, and if that has kind of any effect, if it lets in vultures and all sorts of ill-mannered folk. Yeah, it looks like we don't have a factory yet for either of them, although Solaerran can definitely drop one right now. Want to. I predict this game to be both players sitting back a long time. I would have to agree with you. I wouldn't give you, if I was a bookmaker, I wouldn't give you very good odds on that one. I would, you'd probably make like 10 cents on every dollar for that bet. 2 factories coming down on Solaerran's side of the map, and 1 command center coming down over on Stifle's side, and just 1 factory. So this could get kind of scary for Stifle, but he's definitely going to jump very, very far ahead if he holds off any sort of like initial push. Obviously, this SCV dying isn't that big of a deal. Solaerran's already seen pretty much everything he needs to see. And yeah, the add-on's already coming down here on this factory. Is he gonna have double add-on? Yeah, so double add-on, it's gonna be, I would assume, a pretty quick siege tank push, unless he's going for like very quick vulture speed and mines. So we'll see what the first upgrade is here. It is vulture speed. And mines. Wow. Is that even a thing? Because like, yeah, I guess you're a little bit safer against tank pushes, but SCVs don't trigger mines, and vultures don't trigger mines, so I don't know what the, like, kind of point of that is. I'm a little confused there. Either way, siege mode's starting up for Stifle. going to start making the first tank. And dropping a third factory on 2 bases, and is getting his second gas up. On the other side of the map, we have an armory coming up. I'm guessing that's for weapons. Yeah, I guess if you're going heavily into Vulture here, that makes some sort of sense. Just because Vultures, they I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of lost here. Either way, 3 factories coming up here for Stifle, and is taking a third base. So actually, yeah, Stifle is really far ahead here, and yeah, you can do damage with the Vultures, but you can never... You could never kill a Terran that has siege mode already. I mean, even 2 tanks. If he just blocks with SCVs, like, kinda well, I don't think you ever kill him, and you can always float CCs away. This scares me a little bit, just because, you know, 6 speed Vultures can definitely fly across the map and do something about 2 tanks sieged up in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, Solaerran kind of looks like he was gearing up for like some weird, and not even like an all-in, like just some like weird gimmicky play, and then kind of didn't do anything with it. I think if you're going to commit to that speed in mind so early, you got to get out on the map, because if you don't get map controlled, what's even the point? Yeah, this Stifle guy is definitely an honorable macro Terran for sure. Vulture speed coming out right now for our buddy here. I don't know why he floated away from that machine shop. I guess he's just gonna go mass tank. And either, I guess... See, I don't want to be too mean, but like, I don't know. I guess this whole strategy is just, yeah, they're gonna sit back and try to bore each other to death, kind of. Not bore each other to death, but I mean, obviously, you get that siege tank count up really high in TVT, but there's not a lot to be done. Going to 5 facts on 3 bases. I do like Stifle's game plan here, just kind of sitting back with siege mode, saying, you know, basically kind of taunting Solaerran across the map, saying, come stop me. Sorry, I had to take a sip. So yeah. Stifle could improve on factory placement. Yeah, don't know enough about Terran to honestly to comment on that, but I believe you. I think there's things that, you know, everybody who plays in CPL, unless you're in like one of like the really high ranked groups, you know, there's some pretty fundamental things that you could improve on pretty much for all of us. All right. I can't see. So these armories aren't spinning down here, but we do have double armory for Stifle. No upgrades yet. And he's sending a couple vultures across the map to kind of poke around, just see what's going on. He will see no third base. Obviously, the natural's just coming up now, so I'll lose a couple vultures. Nothing too crazy, just poking his head in there and seeing what's going on. So, yeah, A+ on SCV production. I agree. Yeah, I mean 70. Whoops, 69 is pretty nice for this point in the game. All right, now I can say 70. 70 is pretty good. 70 is pretty good for this point in the game. And yeah, I was just gonna say, definitely allows him to take a 4th base. Not even really even that close to mining out his main, but you can always just spread those SCVs out. And, you know, obviously you make him more efficient by doing that, but you also make yourself a little less susceptible to harassment, right? You know, the more mineral lines you have, the less it matters if they clear one of them with a couple siege tanks or something. Vultures up here, waiting to poke their heads in. They're going to come down, not see anything again. And yeah, I mean, if you're Stifle, you got to be wondering, like, what's going on here? And I mean, even though he just has like this kind of overwhelming advantage right now, I kind of get his hesitance to move out, where he's not really sure, you know, what's going on. You know, I mean, we can definitely say that Solaerran's in a worse spot here, but you know, he's hasn't really given up any scouting information, I guess. And I was gonna say, it doesn't look like that Stifle's made an academy yet, or maybe he's made an academy, but he certainly doesn't have any scanners yet. So yeah, no, not even an academy. So, science facility. Anyway. I think Stifle here is just going for a very fundamental approach to the matchup, though, which I do like. I mean, it looks to me like he's just saying, gonna follow that like age-old bronze to GM advice that you get in all those guides when, you know, you're first starting out, and it's just max out and move out. Which really, like, that's a perfectly fair way to play the game. People might not like it, might call it boring, but if you want to focus on the fundamentals and then kind of expand from there, I mean, that's like kind of the first thing that you got to learn how to do. Moving through here might be a little difficult for him. Moving through this area might be a little difficult for Stifle because of the lack of scans or anything that provides high ground vision. So he's not really going to know where tanks are until they start shooting at him. And then might have a little bit of... Oh, these are tanks. These aren't Dragoons. They're not hard to micro against... Oh, well. Micro against, mines, but... Yeah, like, this is what I'm talking about. He's not gonna see these, and then he doesn't even notice them yet. Until they're already shooting at him, so you just take a couple free shots just by that. Even if he had perfect reactions and noticed and sieged up immediately, he'd still lose like 4 of his tanks. Stifle would be tier 2. I don't know. Not for me to say, man. And yeah, I mean, Stifle's just kind of taking a very strangling position right now. And yeah, we have like 10 more tanks showing up, so at this point I think you can unsiege an 8 move and you're probably okay here as Stifle. Ooh. And here the two Terran armies sit and angrily shake their fists at each other. I don't know if a couple of wraiths could be in the cards for either player. Obviously, you see Stifle getting a couple drop ships now. That could be kind of interesting to dislodge. I mean, there's missile turret here, Goliath, but really not a whole lot else in the way of anti-air. And then we have wraiths coming from Solaerran. So I mean, one wraith isn't really going to do anything. I mean, even one SCV out repairs a wraith's damage, so yeah, that's not going to be too scary for Stifle, but it definitely could kind of put a damper on these drops coming in. Honestly, I'd rather see Stifle go for wraiths of his own. I don't know that the dropship does you as much good as putting a little bit of pressure on these tanks and forcing out some more anti-air. But to each their own. And we have two dropships and a bunch of vultures ready to go when that's required. I don't know. I mean, I guess they could go. I mean, you could honestly just like zealot bomb or vulture bomb these tanks, and that's probably a decent enough move. But we'll see how this develops. Kind of just begging for one player to make a move at this point. The suspense, the tension is just building. As the two armies stare across no man's land at each other. It's very poetic. Anyway, kind of funny to see here. They're both trying to mine out these back minerals. I assume Stifle to get in, and then, yeah. And then Solaerran's trying to get out. I think this is going to do a lot more bad for Solaerran than it will do good for Stifle. So the minerals, I don't know if they got mined out. Yeah, they got mined out. I didn't see the last SCV come up. Kind of an interesting use of dropships here. It expedites the repositioning a little bit. Move those 3 siege tanks. So he hasn't unloaded this one yet, but moves them a little bit more quickly than having them kind of do their little pathfinding thing all the way around here. And he begins shelling this object, this stasis cell prison. There might be an opportunity for Solaerran to go up and siege here while he's targeting the thing, but Solaerran backs up, not wanting to risk it. And mean words are exchanged, but neither side really wants to commit to that fight, it seems. Oh. Yeah, it's yeah, so we have 3 wraiths out now. I don't know if I ever saw Wraith Cloak get researched, but I assume that that's what happened. I think these SCVs are coming up to build some missile turrets. Well, they're building a proxy engineering bay at the moment. And these raids begin to tickle these siege tanks before the Goliaths come up and start mercilessly gunning them down. So yeah, fun little exchange. I wish I saw him like run around a little bit more. I mean, there's not that many Goliaths right now, and they are kind of clunky and hard to micro. And with this spread out of a siege tank line and no range on the Goliaths, I believe, you could definitely kind of... There's definitely some room to like poke and prod and just make Stifle uncomfortable here. But I mean, obviously from Stifle's side, he's at 87 SCVs with a monstrous 21,000 mineral bank. Yeah, I mean, at some point you just gotta unsiege an A move here, man. Anyway, anybody have anything good for dinner tonight? We could go back to casting when someone moves. This is the problem with TVT. I feel like a chat GPT, because I feel like I'm saying like a lot of words, but they don't really mean anything because I've run out of things to say already. West Coast hadn't eaten dinner yet. I'm really what I'm looking for suggestions for is my boss is in the hospital, so I wanted to cook him something because I know when you're in the hospital, too lazy to make lunch and went to McDonald's. Oh, I had explosions. There's a vulture drop here. I think he got 2 tanks over here. Nice job chipping away. I mean, on 2 bases, I don't know that you really have the minerals to do that. You kind of have to take a decisive engagement and just win it. But it's always nice to get a couple of siege tanks for sure in TVT. I mean, you know, for how well Stifle has played, the siege tank count, I don't think he really outnumbers. We got 9, 4, so we got 13, 15. I think that they're relatively even in siege tank count. I mean, obviously the vultures count for something. But, this engineering bay is going to go down here. Just reinforcing his siege line with missile turrets, like the move. He saw the one drop ship and he's just like, nope, that's not happening ever again. A double quarter pounder. Well, no, I mean, like, what I'm saying is, like, I always feel like, you know, I've never really been in the hospital for any extended amount of time, but I did a couple, like, pretty long hotel stays for work. Couple times. And I think after you can only eat so much, like, microwaved canned food and, like, stuff like that. Like, I find myself, when I'm doing that kind of thing, just dying for, like, anything that was cooked on, like, an actual stove. It doesn't even have to be good. Just, like, it has to be, like, home cooked, you know? Even if you're a terrible chef, I'll still eat it and I'll love it because it was cooked with, like, by a real person with love, you know? Anyway, 2 proxy factories coming up from Stifle. And we have the proxy Stargates over here on the right side of the map making some BCs. That's definitely a pretty good way to break this stalemate. Probably gonna start just A-moving a couple. Yeah, look, he's just like gonna start sending in the vultures to their deaths. Doesn't really care about them anymore. He's got BCs on the way, although probably sack those a little bit early, if we're honest. and he probably could have done a little bit better, like, laying down mines before he got rid of them. But, either way, not a bad idea. Yeah, this is maybe a little overkill on the missile turrets, but I kind of get the idea. I mean, this is never getting dropped again, I can tell you that. Yeah, so it turns out that is the length. That's the range of a siege tank from up here. This is like a heat map of siege tank range. It's like siege tank range, not siege tank range. Anyway, still waiting for that delightful unsiege sound. Battle cruisers moving up here. They're gonna shoot this barracks. And Solaerran is not moving up with his own BCs, which is a little surprising, seeing as, you know, obviously, basic math, he has, well, they both have 4 now. But, well, wait a gosh darn second, because Stifle's ahead in upgrades. And switches target here real quick. Not bringing these Goliaths up to the front. They're both gonna go back for repairs. A little R&R after that. So yeah, both players going into BCs now. The difference being that Stifle has 30,000 minerals banked up and 1, 2, 3, 4 mining bases. Solaerran, on the other hand, has 1,000 minerals banked up about and 1 mining base. So I think this is kind of the beginning of the end of this game. We're finally going to see Stifle kind of just roll through here, it looks like. Yeah, the 1 Yamato, but I think that was kind of a waste. I think you really got to use it on the BCs if you want to have any chance, but, I mean... this is about it, it looks like. So... looks like we can expect DGG any second now. As, yeah, Stifle just rolls through with APCs, and that's how this game ends. Very anticlimactic. I really wanted to see a lot of things blowing up here, but, you know, this is a valid way to end it. You may not like it, but this is what peak Terran performance looks like. Yeah. This was quite the plot twist. The BCs coming rolling in. We thought these Terrans were honorable, but alas, Stifle and Solaerran know no bounds, and their brutality will be carried out through the use of BCs. Solaerran, GG. Alright. Like I said, stumbling Anyway, we will go into our last PvT of the night. I believe that this is Zel versus KNITEX. Let's see here. Yeah. Zel versus KNITEX PvT Dark Origin. Obviously, we've seen KNITEX play PvT on this map twice already, so not expecting any sort of like crazy gas steals or proxies or anything like that. Just kind of that like 2-gate pressure, and then kind of standard, go through the tech tree with a couple observers, and then maybe into carriers or arbiters, whatever he decides to do this game. But seems to be KNITEX's playstyle is kind of standard, nothing too crazy. Although he does love moving at bunkers, and in all fairness, it has worked out for him twice so far. So we shall see. Yeah, I'm just beat from that TVT, man. Like, there wasn't a whole lot going on, but I felt like I had to watch and, stay with it. And on top of that, I just don't know anything about TVT, like I said. So anyway, probe going across the map again. Well, no. Zel takes the gas this time and makes sure that he doesn't get his gas stolen, so won't be seeing that today. But always good to think about. Anyway, KNITEX gonna kind of close probe around. I don't know why he's leaving already. I mean, the Marine's nowhere close to done, and even one Marine you can kind of just run past with a probe. Usually, if he kind of chases you around the base. Zel going for the Rax Fast Expand, it looks like. Although he started his second depot already, so gonna be a little slow on that if he decides to do that, but And now? Now? Alright, cool. So, 2 Marines, then into a barracks, and we're going to see the factory come down here. Over on KNITEX's side of the map, we do see the Goon Zealot, with the second gateway coming down, what we've seen so far, and the Goon range starting. I don't know why he goes for that second Zealot. I really just prefer getting a second Goon, like getting another Goon at this point in the game. But I guess maybe he feels it makes him safer against like SCV pulls or something. I mean, I guess it kind of does. Zealots are usually better against SCVs than Goons. But either way. Two factories coming up from Zel. Command center coming down. About to be finished. And on KNITEX's side of the map, we have a probe coming down. I don't think, yeah. We're starting a pylon here. Just gonna be prepping this natural expansion to actually drop a Nexus at some point. Although, I don't know. Small mistake from KNITEX dropping this pylon so early. Usually, you don't drop it until like 31, 32 supply-ish. Because I believe, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure pylons take less time to build than goons, so you could actually queue up like a goon or two, then drop the pylon. And if you do that, then you probably accelerate your build a little bit towards getting that Nexus up a little bit quicker. You might even be able to get the Nexus up before the pylon without pausing goon production. And honestly, it might just be worth it to... Yeah, and he smashes through the bunker here again. And yeah, not only taking shields damage on all these goons, so gonna kill that. Yeah, I mean, again, he's gonna do a lot of damage here, but with your Nexus being this late, I don't know if it matters. And yeah, with already 2 factories up, I think that it's pretty likely that this is gonna get deflected. I mean, maybe not. I mean, 2 goons versus... Yeah, I mean, this is good goon dancing away from the vulture. And then yeah, this is like one of those things where it's like really weird because I don't think that KNITEX ever kills with this. Although if he keeps rallying, but he isn't even moving his units across the map now, so he's gonna be really annoying here. He's not gonna kill Zel, and to be honest with you, back home, KNITEX's economy is not that great. In fact, he's 3 workers down, so I don't know that you're really any better off than you would be otherwise as KNITEX if you had just like not committed so heavily to this and gotten your Nexus up earlier. But either way, I mean, like I said, this is frustrating for Terran to deal with. And he does kill the barracks, so now he's preventing other factories being made. I mean, I don't know that you really want more than 2 factories at this point anyway. Yeah, siege mode starting. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just starting, so now do you even, like, yeah, and it's funny that this bunker's down here without a barracks to actually build anything to put in it. Yeah, so a bunch of mines getting started at the top here. Could technically micro him against them, or honestly just send this out up to soak them all up. Ooh, loses the command center. Okay, so that's really painful. So yeah, so KNITEX is definitely ahead now. If he hadn't slowed that command center away a little bit earlier, I think that just pretty plain and simple win. And he walks up the ramp here. Can definitely get on top of this tank here. Yeah, and I think this is kind of over. So now we see why KNITEX does that, where he just barrels through the bunker. Because apparently 1 out of 3 games it works. So anyway, yeah, interesting game. A decent micro, honestly, from KNITEX. I mean, I think he was a little overly conservative with his micro. I think, like, honestly, he could have won that game like probably like a minute or 2 minutes sooner. Even though that was only an 8-minute game. He probably did not need to be that conservative with the kiting and all that stuff. But either way, we'll go into Zel Uneec versus Solaerran. I didn't even bother switching the overlays at this point. That's beginning of stream energy versus end of stream energy kind of dichotomy there. Either way, another TVT on Neodark Origin. In the bottom we have Solaerran in the blue, and on the top we have Zel Uneec or Unique in the red. So again, like I said, it'll be interesting to see how these two players play, because the only player that really had like some discernible style so far is Stifle. I think Solaerran maybe isn't so used to the matchup, or doesn't really know how to play it all that well, and seemed a little bit lost in their first game. So maybe these, you know, and I think also like Stifle's maybe style of kind of mass expanding and just playing like this really greedy, overwhelming macro style was like a little, I don't know, probably not the meta for TVT. You know, usually the games kind of develop that way, but to do it in like at the tempo that he did it was maybe a little worrying for Zel. Either way, Barrick starting here, Barrick starting here. Not much to say. Both players don't seem to have skipped a beat in SCV production. We have the gas being taken, we have the gas being taken. So, normal stuff here. And, yeah, hopefully we're going to see a good game here. We have an SCV going out to scout from Solaerran. I honestly forget if he scouted last game, or at least if he scouted this early. I feel like TVT is one of those matchups where you don't really scout that early, because like Terran in general just takes a long time to power up to anything beyond Marines, and I mean, let's be honest, like Marines, if you were to do some Marine all in, like unless you have like a lot of Marines, then they kind of just die to SCVs. They're not really very good at fighting anything in this matchup except other Marines. Wow. Solaerran draws first blood. Kills the oh, and this merciful god Marine walks away. Oh no, he comes back, decides to finish the job. He's gonna chase this SCV around and finally take him down. While we have our second factory starting from Zel Uneec. And we also have the first two factories being finished up by Solaerran. So again, this kind of whole matchup, the way it plays out, kind of where the builds really diverge usually is what that first upgrade is from the machine shop. So yeah, we will see where that takes us. It's definitely a spiritual journey that we are embarked on. See the machine shop starting over here from Zel Uneec. And from Solaerran, we already see the machine shop finishing, and we are about to find out what is the first upgrade. Wait with bated breath. Alright, well, our first upgrade over here is going to be Vulture Speed. Down here, we're actually not going to see an upgrade at all. We're going to see an armory. This is an armory down here. I can tell you from the production tab. I just don't know how to pick. Yeah, there you go. So, kind of an interesting choice. I don't know if it's... I mean, Solaerran went for like a really early armory last time as well. And I don't know if it's worth it going for armories this early. I don't know if like... You know, because each upgrade is like... well, it's like 2 siege tanks worth of gas and a siege tank's worth of minerals. So, you know, even like having like 1 or 2 more siege tanks is definitely more important than getting those upgrades started. And obviously, you know, siege tanks just have such high base damage, and vultures kind of do nothing, so either way, so it makes you wonder if that's actually worth it. But either way, vehicle weapons have already started for Solaerran, so he will gain some sort of advantage that way if he continues to hold here. Obviously, we saw this before. Solaerran's CC much later than his opponents, and yeah, Zel apparently just gonna try to batter down this depot. I don't know why you do that over the supply depot. I mean, obviously the supply depot is a little bit less. Oh, but he's gonna lift the yeah. Yeah, a little bit of missed micro there, so Zel gets to keep 2 of his vultures, but definitely an ill-advised kind of push in there. And yeah, so now Solaerran's going to lay down his mines and probably go get out on the map here. I mean, what do we have? Not a whole lot. A bunker. But this isn't even a full wall, I think. Yeah, I mean, vultures can definitely slip through here. But Solaerran decides to go back, which is a little disappointing. Like, kind of wanted to see him run through here and cause some havoc and force micro. You know, force Zel to micro. But either way, just gonna sit outside his base, get a 3rd factory up. And is this the natural? Yep, natural command center coming right up. Armory coming down from Zel, so he'll be about, you know, a minute or 2 behind Solaerran on that. One of the mines does hit this tank, so gotta be careful. Might lose a tank if he oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, might lose a tank if he does that. So, and then obviously there's more mines over on the side, so even if you do push across the bridge, you're not home free. A lot of these vultures have mines left too, so either way, we're gonna see how these guys take it from here. There's 3 tanks from Zel, and the first one just coming out from Solaerran. So Solaerran, honestly, this count of vultures is kind of scary. I mean, he can definitely just jump on top of the Terran army if he wants to, but you got to do it a little bit more measured than that. Definitely have to, like, get a decent spread and bait out here. Yeah, already pretty bad trades for Solaerran. We shall see here if he ends up doing anything. But again, I mean, Solaerran just, he's so passive, and he gets that early speed mine upgrades, but he doesn't take map control with it, and then you're kind of just left with a lower siege tank count than your opponent, and then you just get contained on these 2 bases. I mean, it's like history is kind of repeating itself for Solaerran here. Solaerran already lost the first tank. Gonna go up here, siege up, but 3-2 siege tanks. I think, yeah, I mean, they're all in range. So even with missed shots, I mean, yeah, that siege tank's toast. And yeah, so now we're starting to see Solaerran kind of get bottlenecked again into this little, into his own little 2 bases. And this time it's even worse because Zel's like right outside his natural. And you know, with no siege tanks down here on the low ground, could easily start creeping forward. Oh, excuse me. Zen also up. Zel also up by 12 workers, so not the best day for Solaerran. Zel is kind of creeping forward, trying to figure out where the edge of that siege tank range is for Zel. We'll find it right here with this tank. And yeah, I mean, already rendering 1 mineral field unusable. Yeah. This is looking really bad for Solaerran. I mean, he might just tap out here right now and float this CC away, and maybe even mine out the back minerals and try to sneak out through there to get your second back up, your natural. But and this is just such a rough position to fight from. It's so hard to push down this ramp now. You have no siege tanks down there. Your natural is getting shelled down. Really tough position here. Again, you know, with that vulture mine, the speed mine upgrades that you take. So really, you really got to get map control. Otherwise, this is kind of just what happens. Ramps these couple vultures, see if he can maybe draw some shots. Now he's just gonna run in here and try to, well, okay. We have our first Wraith out. No anti-air down here yet. I assume Goliaths are gonna start getting queued up now. Yep, we have the first one. And yeah, all it takes is one Wraith. You can start poking away at these guys to make them feel uncomfortable, and you just start building that Wraith count. The Goliaths are still, you know, they're all the way, they're about to pop now, but they still got to go all the way across the map. So looking at a somewhat difficult location. And really what would complete this for Zel is, yeah, I was going to say, his only chance here for Solaerran is to sneak SCVs out here. So if you put like 2 siege tanks back here and float a building over the this like little back passageway, you completely lock Solaerran in. And now then he'd have to go for dropships just to get out of his own base, which at that point, you know, it's just not really a great idea. Also, only down to 11 SCVs. Really rough for Solaerran. But anything can happen. That's why they play the game, so continue to see here. Yeah. Good job getting vision down there for Zel. And getting a siege tank in range. Now begins the standoff. Honestly, this siege tank count is kind of crazy for Zel Uneec, you know, relative to Solaerran. So he honestly might be able to just move up the ramp. I mean, he'd lose a lot in the process, but you clear out these last 4 tanks, there's nothing. Even just like a massive round of vultures here would be pretty devastating. Again, it's just a you know, kind of a Mexican standoff between the 2 players right now. Neither player really wants to budge. Poke Wraiths come out. The Goliaths are already here. They're going to probably walk forwards now. Good job going around the back of the tanks here to not get shelled. And as they come out, the Wraiths kind of know, well, no, they're going to try to mess around. I do like this here from Sol. I guess he's doesn't have a scan at the moment. Yeah, he doesn't. So these Wraiths are actually going to get quite a bit done. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, is he queuing up a science vessel, or they're just going to leave? They run out of, well, no, they don't even run out of energy. I guess he gets a scan. Has another one banked up. So, you know, we have Zel Uneec. Now double expanding, taking most of the map, and actually that does kind of stink for Zel, losing that barracks. Has to rebuild it if he's ever going to make another factory. And yeah, looks like we'll be sitting here for a little bit. Neither side wants to budge, even only against 6 tanks. This is moving up this ramp is kind of tough. Science vessel out here, making it difficult for these Wraiths to do anything, although, yeah, 2 of the Goliaths are already cleared. More reinforcements just trickling up to the front from Zel's base. Yeah, and then, yeah. I was gonna say, the move with 3 Wraiths, I like the idea that you're trying to catch them lacking, but not really going to work out. And Solaerran, I don't know if that was a misclick or just him getting a little frustrated, but tries to move down the ramp, loses 2 tanks. For his trouble. Over on the other side of the map, we do see 2 starports start up. And some dropships, I guess. Dropships starting. Like I said, I think in this position you can kind of just take the dropships and do a little bit of a... I mean, honestly, you can just kind of zealot palm the tanks at this point. Solaerran mining out the back of his base. Gonna go try to get a second up in the bottom left corner. We'll see if that works out. Zel hasn't suspected this yet, so I don't see why he would scan it now or check now. So, I mean, this base could kind of stay up indefinitely in the bottom left once he gets it up. Again, this is it's kind of a box art kind of scene here with the 2 lines of siege tanks staring each other down, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. So We'll see. How it goes. Over here we have Zel creating 2 dropships. I don't think any others are out on the map yet. Oh no, there's... Oh, already 4. Okay. And he's actually kind of getting a Doom drop together. Yeah, so... Looks like 4 tanks, 4 Goliaths, 4 vultures. That could be really scary. And yeah, I mean, if he lodges himself up in the top right of the base or back behind these depots in this engineering bay, it could be really difficult to clean up for Solaerran. Another dropship on the way. Another dropship gonna pick up presumably another couple Goliaths and vultures. Oh, 2 more tanks. Kind of a funny way to end it with the mass drop. So we'll see. I guess he's gotten wind of this. I guess he's already seen the dropships because he's making a couple missile turrets, but yeah, gonna come in now. And yeah, I mean, honestly, you get sieged up here. I think this is kind of game over. Still hasn't unloaded these other couple dropships here. Yeah, I mean, this is tough to deal with. You're gonna lose a bunch of supply depots, access to your gas, which, you know, admittedly is already pretty much depleted. You do get this other base up, but yeah, I mean, dropships are gonna go back here, start ferrying in more units. And yeah, as you slowly kind of lose control of your base, it gets a little tough. So anyway, still 4 bases to 2. And Solaerran's supply blocked at the moment, so this is, yeah, I mean, this is definitely not fun. Solaerran's, yeah, I mean, down over 100 supply. Just kind of waiting for the killing blow to come in here. Maybe this is not so much a killing blow as a slow and quiet death. Alright. More things getting picked up to be dropped. I'd really just like to see him just carpet bomb these last couple tanks. I think that, you know, you clearly, I mean, what do you have? 8 dropships now? 7? I think clearly you have enough dropships now to just go in, and obviously you have the bank to sustain it too, even if it goes poorly. So you can just kind of go in there and just drop all over these tanks and use their splash damage to your advantage. Once you do that, I mean, this whole base is toast. So see what he decides to do. Decides to play it safe. Still play it safe. You can just move forward. It doesn't need to keep scanning. He sees no anti-air here. You can just move forward with one of these science vessels. And finally, he does. Well, he moves down here with these drop ships. And Solaerran moves out. Kind of last hurrah, gets here. Probably going to see a GG in a few minutes. I mean, this is the last couple siege tanks. You know, only have a barracks for production down here. In the bottom left. That's kind of it. And, yeah, this gets cleaned up. And Solaerran taps out. Alright. Now we're going to go into our last game of the night. And for our last game, we will have Zel Uneec versus Stifle. And away we go. Top of the map, Zel Uneec. And bottom of the map, Stifle, our honorable Macro Terran. So, I mean, we've already talked about TVT on Neo-Dark Origin. Like I said, thin map, easy to have lots of tanks and turtle up everywhere, as we saw in our last couple games. But a reasonably long distance between the mains. So, I mean, you can't do, you know, maybe drops are a little bit worse on this map. I mean, not that I really know all too well, but that's what I'm assuming. Either way, we'll go into it here. Stifle building his first supply depot on the low ground. A little bit interesting here. We'll see where he goes with that. And first barracks coming up from Zel. Or just the barracks, not even the first barracks, just barracks, more than likely. And barracks coming up from Stifle, also on the low ground. So, not sure why he's building these on the low ground. I mean, we haven't seen him do that yet, I don't believe. Or no, maybe we did see him do that in the last couple games. Yeah, no, we did. I'm just dumb. Anyway, SCVs go out, they shake hands as they pass, off, you know, wish each other a good game. Both will kind of get to the opponent's base, see very standard things going on, gases being taken. Barracks, no super early factories it looks like. So, we go into our last TVT of the night. Barracks, building Marines for Zel. And doesn't show any signs of looking at a command center, a quick command center, so maybe we're going to see a factory come down fairly quickly from him. Bunker coming up from Stifle. Playing that honorable Macro Terran style, obviously. So, gonna run the SCV around as much as he can. He's obviously, I think, actually, I don't know if he can get out through here. I think a bunker and a supply depot SCVs might be able to get through that gap, but I don't really know. Either way, factories come down around the same time for both players. Fairly even. Neither one seems to be missing any SCV production. This is 2 factories from Zel. I assume I'm going to see another factory from Stifle here in a second. Unless, okay, he's just going to drop the CC on one factory. Getting the machine shop and possibly another factory any moment now. Well, he's not really banking minerals. He's kind of waiting on that. 3 factories from Zel is a little bit interesting. I don't know. Yeah, so siege mode already started. I don't know that you can really like go for any crazy 3 factory play. I mean, one's obviously idle, so building the add-on there on the low ground, slightly suspicious, but not too crazy. Barracks floating over from Zel. Barracks went out, had second thoughts, and went back to the safety of the main base from Stifle. Obviously, Stifle focused on that very heavy macro style. So, only going to be going off that one barracks for now. Getting his second command center running. Making sure that there's always SCVs queued up. And kind of waiting, yeah, to plant that second factory. That's what it looked like. So we'll see these guys. We have siege tank and mines on the way, or siege mode and mines on the way from Zel. Siege mode just finished up for Stifle. And that second factory on the way, so we'll see if he decides to go into mines or speed or something like that in the next couple seconds here. Oh. Excuse me. Zel a little bit sloppy with the first tank, losing it, not even getting a shot off. I mean, I think you just got to commit to the siege there if you're going to do that. And try to just trade at least one shot. But, yeah. We'll see here the factory from Zel Uneec. Walking in, seeing three Marines in the bunker. Based on the sound, and then backing up a little bit. Gonna see that there's a decent amount of siege tanks already saved, already up. And yeah, I mean, for like lower ranked players, including myself, this kind of style that Stifle plays is really difficult to play against. There's just so much to manage on Zel's end. You want to keep this third from getting up. You want to keep the bottom left base from getting up. And you can't really attack in, so you can't really do anything there. So, you're left with, kind of very limited choices in what you do. And then you just got to end up playing a war of attrition against this. It feels like. So Zel's going to start up their academy, start up their armory, try to get ahead that way. Obviously denying this base with the spider mines, and there's not a good way for Stifle to clear them at the moment. I'm going to destroy this bunker. I guess see the point in destroying the bunker right now. I mean, it's not like you can really very easily move out with no scans and no science vessel, so you kind of just get stuck back here and you just lose that little bit of defense that the bunker gives you. Yeah, these tanks, oh my god. Tanks are getting massacred from Stifle right now. Well, the Stifle is up almost 20 workers, but still only on 2 bases. I think, you know, Stifle's style here, this like crazy macro, really relies on not getting contained like this. And with the mines just spread out the way they are, no scans, no science vessels, and, you know, I mean, you can even be up in tank count, which he's not even that at this point. But even if you are, you know, you're still pretty far behind. Or not pretty far behind, but you're not even that ahead, even with the, you know, like nearly doubling the SCV count. I mean, there's only so much efficiency that oversaturating gets you. So yeah, Zel's gonna sit back here and relax a little bit. Stifle is content to do the same. Zel's production seems to be faltering a little bit here. I mean, nothing really coming out of any of these factories. I haven't seen anything come across the map in a while. Well, I stand corrected, but it feels a little bit slow, and honestly, same from Stifle. I mean, I feel like they could both be a little bit more on top of their production, but either way, we get into the age-old siege tank versus siege tank standoff. Zel is just trying to reinforce his siege tank line right here. I'd like to see him spread out a little bit more, but you know, this is good for now, and you don't want to spread out too much. Fifth factory coming up from Stifle. Both armories working away for each other. Zel already on that +1. Stifle still trying to get it. And yeah, I mean, where do we go from here? We have Stifle making another command center. Gonna probably try to sneak that out through the bottom here. 48 minerals, only 5 SCVs, so gonna need an extra trip from one of them to get through. Siege tank lines slowly building up to increase that tension. That is the hallmark of a TVT. Zel has been kind of sloppy with these we see Zel going for the same kind of drop plan that he did last game. Trying to look for good drop locations. I guess you could get in among these you get in among these supply depots, and Stifle really needs to do something about that if that happens. I mean, you can't just lose all your supply depots and be supply blocked forever. Maybe drop like a couple Goliaths on top of these 2 tanks to kill them, and then you drop a couple tanks in the back here. But either way, this is what we're going to be looking at for quite some time, it seems. Stifle finally moving out of his main base into this bottom left quadrant, looking to get up this base and hopefully hide it for quite some time. I mean, if he gets discovered here and he loses that CC, could be quite devastating for him. Stifle does sneak out five vultures over here, gets them up into this top right, checks the base. And honestly, if you could get like a dropship, I can't really sneak it out anywhere. If you could get a dropship and maybe sneak it out somewhere to mine these minerals with 8 SCVs, getting those vultures in would be kind of devastating. And, you know, but I like the play here, trying to cut off some reinforcements with the vultures. They don't fight particularly well against anything, but they do slow things down and create a bit of a nuisance. You can run around with them for quite a while. Also just laying the mines creates just another thing that, yeah, Zel has to deal with. No mines left on these. Well, he's got 2 left here. You could plant them over here, but create a little bit of havoc as the reinforcements come in. And yeah, going to start mining from this bottom left base, and those vultures will be dealt with. But still, mines in the middle of the map. They're a headache. Again, the siege tanks just staring at each other from atop the cliff and over into the little no man's land. I gotta think, does Stel... So Zel doesn't know about this base yet. He did scan it at some point, but doesn't know yet. He's probably gonna be a little bit upset when he finds out. I mean, yeah, and two vultures coming in here from the... Good block here, but yeah, I mean, still 2 vultures getting into the mineral line here. Gonna kill quite a few SCVs. I mean, already 3 kills each. And gonna plant some mines on their way out, so it's gonna be a bit of a nuisance. Again, still mines in the middle of the map, so... And... Zel just barely skates past them. So another bunch of vultures going to come in here, and you're going to start wondering, you know, where are these guys coming from? All these SCVs over here are going to die. And then there's nothing at the natural. I mean, 3 Marines in a bunker, I mean, that doesn't really stop speed vultures. They're going to kind of do what they do. And the vultures are going to fly on by. Wreak havoc in this mineral line now. I mean, up here, there's really no minerals left, so... Yeah. I mean, just destroying the SCV count. Drop comes into Stifle's base, but Stifle quick to respond, gonna siege up. And, I mean, just with the more spread out tank position, probably gonna pretty easily clean this up. Gonna lose a couple tanks, but not quite as much as Zel committed to this. And with his reduced SCV count, you know, that's kind of a big deal. And there you have it. That drop gets cleaned up. Quite a big reduction in Zel's tank count. Quite a big reduction in Zel's drone count. SCV count, sorry. So now we're looking at, you know, what went from being a very, very good position for Zel to a very, very bad position. Still kind of even in army supply, but actually Zel's ahead by 20 supply. But with that mining and, you know, I mean, Stifle having a almost 10,000 mineral bank, it has to be said, you know, can Zel really recover from this? And not only that, but where cost efficiency is so, you know, in a matchup where cost efficiency is so important, is he capable of overcoming, you know, such a lead? So we see over here, I guess that's ship weapons. I don't actually know what that upgrade is. You know, level 3 vehicle weapons coming in here from Stifle, as well as Zel, I assume. So yeah, Zel with the +1 armor. And if I had to guess here, the killing blow is going to be battle cruisers again. Hey, flash for the win and started playing Starcraft. Pretty great, huh? These proxy factories are kind of funny to me. But yeah, I mean, I guess you're kind of staking your entire claim on this position, so you might as well. And yeah, just being annoying with the mineral lines. Sorry, spider mines. Mineral lines, what am I talking about? I mean, this just... These spider mines, I mean, just so significantly complicate Zel's position here. Especially when he's down so much in SCVs. I mean, you can see 6 at the main, 5 at the natural, and yeah, not really much to be said there. And just gonna massacre these SCVs again. I mean, just so frustrating for Zel here. Go up here, beat up on a couple of vultures. Yeah, I mean, there you have it. 15 SCVs for Zel. Losing everything to spider mines. Walk one of these tanks into another one, get that one down to 27. Stifle coming in with a drop into the main. Going to kill probably a pretty significant amount of depots here. If you can get the armory before it finishes +3, that'd be pretty big. But no, just going to focus on these depots. And, you know, also just, you know, halting the production. You know, not even just from a supply block, but also just being on top of the production. You can, that's kind of funny. Oh no, it's not. I thought this tank was taking damage from this tank shooting at the command center, but it's not. Yeah. I mean, this game has been pretty over from when Stifle got those vultures out and just did so much damage with them, but now with getting into Zel's base, destroying all this, and yeah, making him float his production, moving, you know, destroying all these supply depots. I don't know that there's a very there's almost no chance now for Zel Never want to say never, but definitely pretty rough. Probably gonna be losing the starport here soon. I don't think. Oh, +3 did finish, yeah. So, there's that. And Zel just bringing in more and more tanks into the main here. I'm sorry, Stifle bringing more and more tanks into the main of Stifle here, of Zel here. Jesus Christ. 9 SCVs remain. I mean, this is, yeah, not an easy spot to play. We'll say that. Although, with all these drops, I mean, Stifle's main is left pretty bare, but I think, you know, I mean, just pushing up here into tanks is going to be pretty tough. There's these drop ships coming back. Probably picking up vultures now. And yeah, I mean, I don't think we can really expect to do much here as Zel. You're just down way too far. You can't get on supply block, because if you do, that just means taking another SCV off of mining. You already only have 9. So, I mean, tough way to lose such a game because you were so far ahead in the beginning, but just kind of the reality of TVT. Sometimes it can be very volatile, but also very slow at the same time, so. Sad to see it end like this. Dropships back here just chilling. More tanks in them. And they'll come back across the map with another round of tanks. Yeah, so 6 more tanks. Now heading to Zel's natural. And I mean, when this happens, I think that there's very little that you can do. Unfortunate way to go, but it's the way it is sometimes. Stifle playing really well in this group, by the way. And yeah, super GG from Zel. It's over. That's Group 3 for Week 2. A lot of TVTs. And a couple PVTs as well. But anyway, thank you for joining me for tonight. Great to see y'all. Have a good one.